You have entered the Aqua Brain. I'm your Virgil Drew. It's New Year's. It's 2021. This marks 1 year of shows for Aqua Brain TV. I want to thank you from my heart. It means a lot that you guys have viewed, you have watched, sent me emails, commented. I really appreciate that. Please let me know what you want to see. If you got some guests, if you got some topics, let's make this show, guys. All right. I'm willing to put in the time. And, if you give me some feedback, it'll be a better show. All right. On this show, I've got my friend, Terry Michael Young. That's right. 1 year ago today, Terry Michael Young and I were supposed to do a show, which would have marked our very first show. It didn't happen. And I'm so pleased to connect with him now because with the political climate the way it is, with 2020 being so crazy, with 2021, going into 2021, I've started meditating in my heart. I've started doing the heartfulness meditation, which is a non-denominational meditation. It's been amazing. This morning I had a really great time. They're doing a 3-day thing. So today was the first day. Go check that out. Heartfulness meditation. It's a transmission experience. And I felt it this morning. I'm feeling good about 2021. And, I'm just going to let her ride. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Terry Michael Young. How in the hell are you there, Terry?
Rocking and rolling, my friend. It's good to see you.
Merry good Christmas. To see you. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Happy
right.
2021. It's coming.
Just about.
Oh, crap. Man, I'm professional.
Oh, there you go. Wow. Nice.
What a difference. Night and day. They're going to be like nice intro, guy.
Right.
You're dark, friend. All right, Terry. Well, man, what a crazy 2020, right? Who would have thought? First of all, I wasn't sure I was going to make it to see 2020, to be completely honest with you. There might be some of you out there that would be surprised to hear me say that, but man, there are points in my life where I was just like, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it that long, and perseverance and having a good attitude about things. I'm telling you right now is tough as, it's tough.
Yeah. Well, man, speaking of that, they just arrested some people in Seattle, and some of it was, I believe, in Tacoma, to Travel Lodge, where they took over the Travel Lodge for over a week. The Antifa members, but they brought in a bunch of homeless and says, "We refuse to pay you. We demand that you let us stay here." And
that's God bless them.
And the thing is, United Way, I don't know where they are in all this, but from the last time I spoke with them, they had, this was right before the pandemic, there was like $50 million just in our area alone for the crisis of the homeless, which is like, well, why doesn't it go to that, especially during this? I mean, it's got a spec. We've had our ups and downs, and we've had our scrapes with that, but it's some people are still sitting out in the cold, which I think is an interesting aspect of the crises that we have in our society and how we have used now pandemic to gloss over all these other people that are dying. And, so it's been a crazy year. There's been a lot of insane things that have been going on in the attempt to make everybody bend their knee. Everybody's bending their knee. A
lot of people are. A lot of people are. I mean,
and it's out of fear. It's out of fear of that dictatorship and of false mandates, like just the whole aspect of taking away our civil liberties and turning a pandemic into a tyrannical mandate, because that's really what it is—a tyrannical mandate. So that you and I, if let's say you're a business owner,
two guys at a park, is that what's happening? Is that a mandate?
Oh, I don't know about that
You guys
mandate.
holding hands at a park? Terry.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sorry, man. All right. Sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. You didn't get my joke. It's
No,
fine. Go
timing
ahead
is
and
everything. I know that
comment.
you're a humorous fella. You got some great comedy in you, but timing sometimes isn't your best thing.
I know.
But
I
I'm
stole
sitting
that
here
one
discussing
too,
this,
so
and
it
all of a
wasn't
sudden I'm
even
talking
original.
about what? Oh, but if you're talking about giving money over to overseas for gender studies, if that's what you're talking about, and I just missed that cue, my bad, because you're right. It's like that's the other aspect of our crisis in our country and the pandemic that's affecting everybody, and jobs and my neighborhoods and everybody's neighborhoods, and it's like it's being funneled overseas. It's like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? This should be a very clean, pork-free bill that goes to help families like you. You've got a family of how many children do you have now?
20. No, I'm sorry.
You don't have 20 children. Fine. Yeah.
I know. No, I have two. Yeah. So I mean, and when you're talking about this new stimulus package. I know we're definitely jumping around, and I want to come back to the stimulus package. I want to come back to the presidential election. I want to talk about that poster behind you. But when we first were planning to do this show, which actually was a year ago, today is when we were planning on doing a show. Wait, a year ago, I guess tomorrow, because I think it was a New Year's Day show. And we're recording this on New Year's Eve day. And you were going to talk because you were talking about the homeless. And I think we were touching on a very important subject there because we were going to talk about your project at that time that you were masterminding. And
well, we recorded it. I think when I was in a hotel or in a motel somewhere. I remember, and we recorded on the side of the street. That's what talk about skinning your teeth. Hi, God is good, because you can be homeless one day, or you have faith, and you just kind of go, dude, this is not where I'm meant to stay. But life has hiccups, and it'll slap you around, and it'll take you out of your home, and domestic issues. I mean, imagine all the things that are going on that created this. Crisis that has been a thing right before this pandemic. They said the big crisis in Seattle and Washington was the homeless. Right. And when I was a car away from homeless, and one night my actually alternator crashed down on me, and I just cruised right down to the. Thank God I was right there heading towards the mechanic shop. But I was like, my God, my house just broke down. And perseverance and readjusting and reevaluating workflow and what our training and education did. And I met a lot of homeless people when I was out there. And because in my neighborhood, before I moved here, there were people where it was in a nice neighborhood. It was Des Moines Marina area. You're down by the water. And all of a sudden I saw more and more homeless showing up and more people in the parking lot with their hands out. And I kept saying, where'd you guys come from? There's more needles in the parking lot. I'm like, we're getting encroached. I go, listen, partner. I go, I know that it sucks to be you. I go, but you can't expect me to give you money when you're making it harder for me to come and get milk and cheese because I don't want hepatitis. Yeah. And now I'm like, what happened?
Oh, that was a bad timing again. Right? That was my mime of stepping over needles. Sorry, I didn't mean to disrupt your. Yeah. We got this comedic timing thing down, Terry.
Well, some things I just, if you want to ask me a question about the homeless man, you gotta sometimes learn to turn off your comedy need and desire. There's no bells and whistles that we got to hit right now. The comedy will come naturally. Because there's no laughing matter about it, because I'm serious. There are people that are being affected by these needles sitting in the parking lot, and you're sitting over in a Safeway parking lot, and I'm looking at people and go, how about we work together? How about you clean up this parking lot and I'll give you more than $1? I go, how about, when I walk through here, we get to know you, and you're not somebody heading in the shadows waiting to accost us at our car door or at the front door of our shopping center where we're trying to get milk and cheese. The police aren't doing anything about it. The fire department doesn't do anything about it. The Safeway managers don't do anything about it until you start going, hey, let's activate. Aren't we a community? What are you doing parking here to get lunch as a fire department and walking right by and not looking in this parking lot like I'm looking at it? as a concerned father and a citizen, that there's several needles, and I got footage of that stuff, where there's several. Here you go, buddy. There you go. Go see Mama. Oh, you're tricky. I know what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, have you noticed the change in that
Well,
as
I
you
moved
drive
out of
around
there.
now?
I moved out of Des Moines, and especially I'm sure it's worse, because why wouldn't it be worse?
Right.
This is before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so to me, I moved out of there because I already saw what law enforcement was able to do and was not able to do. When I was there, I was talking to the police in the parking lot saying, how come we have this problem? How come you guys aren't talking with the Safeway managers and saying, here's how you contact sharps. Here's how you help keep a clear path for your patrons. They're like, because it's privately owned. They go, that has nothing to do. You can get in a car wreck inside a Safeway parking lot or a parking lot of businesses, and unless it's a certain dollar amount, they're just like this. Because I got hit by a heroin driving van, dude with no license, no insurance, or nothing. And he hit my my vehicle.
Man.
And of course, you didn't have nothing to do. No cop came because the guy's attitude was pissed off at me. And I said, I'm fucking parked, bro. And you hit me. And I go, but how can you be mad? I'm the one that should be mad at you.
Right.
I go, first of all, let's get your license. And that's why I said, oh, so that's why you're mad. You don't have any of those things. Well, by God, it sucks to be kicked in life, doesn't it? Well, it doesn't give you a right to come around and smash me up. And he's still aggressive. And I said, well, fine, listen, you're out of hand. His girlfriend or whoever, his other heroin partner was there. And another guy that was just so spaced out that just didn't speak. It was just like, oh shit. But all those things were occurring in the neighborhood, and the police were just like, we couldn't arrest them. Anyway, we just busted some dude who stole a car, broke and entered, stole somebody's weapon, and drove off after breaking and doing something else at a convenience store. They pinned him off to the freeway. The guy jumps out of the car, rolls, his gun falls out of his pants. They arrest him. He's released that night.
Have you heard anything that since the pandemic that there's a list of crimes that just they don't arrest for anymore? I heard something about that, and I'm not sure, like shoplifting and
well, that's exactly my point, is that
resisting arrest.
That's exactly my point, is that here you can break and enter, and you can steal a car, steal people's property, and they go, unless it's a certain thing, unless someone's dead, basically it's free for all. And then you were talking about, I remember you could steal up to so much money. I think it was $1,200 worth of money before you could do anything. They would just basically, so you can get that food and all that product out of Costco's or Safeways, and they couldn't do anything but book you and then send you home. But as long as you got it to your friends or your cousin or your brother or whoever, and they packed it home, it's like, well, how are they gonna? They got to seize it somewhere, but if you got a good system down. And guess what? When there's defunding the police and doing all this nonsense in the Seattle liberal and trying to push for all that, you see the crime courage rise up. Because then when I'm driving down the street, I'm like, by God, I have to move. I am no longer safe in my neighborhood because they're bigger than me at this point. I don't have my team of enforcers because it's just me out in the parking lot saying, hey, partner, I'll work with you if you become the mayor of this parking lot. Keep it clean, and I'll pay you money for that. And we'll get the Safeway owner to know you, maybe even the butcher and the baker, and get some soup out on you. Oh my God, now we're working together until you get back up off your feet. But to have you at our front doorstep, and then have the citizens trip over and our children that we don't want to send to the store to get anything because it's like, no, I don't want you to be accosted. You might trip and hit a needle. Someone might threaten you. It's becoming that kind of, and we live down by the marina. It's supposed to be a nice school, nice little neighborhood, but it's really not. And at least it's proven itself not to be as strong as I once thought it was. And even talking with the police and the fire department, they're only, you know what they told me? The advice?
What?
Vote.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what they told me to vote. And I went, what?
And we'll get to that.
Because you talked about the COVID and then the flu. And it's like, yeah, here's the pandemics that we're already dealing with in our country. And it's like, wait, this is just all smoke and mirrors. You're creating systems that don't actually affect these people, which is what Homeless to Hopeful was all about, is to create a system that gets that pandemic money, the crisis money with the United Way to the folks in the crisis. But
what did you find out? What did you find out when you dug a little deeper into that?
You have to have your own nonprofit organization if you want the funding to be directly managed by your pitch.
And
So that
that's a
so your
501c3.
business plan has to basically be under a nonprofit, or, and this was highly unrecommended by United Way. I spoke with the official. Unrecommended. If you join some other already running nonprofit and you attach yours to them to see if it would support. But the problem with that, and this is from the mouth of a knower, I didn't know. Unfortunately, your money will be eked out at the very least, because they'll basically dominate that for whatever thing that there is, and they'll fill it in. And they'll go, well, thank you. What did you need? You needed a bus. You needed to, oh, well.
Wait, you want to do what? You want to try to rehabilitate people? Wait a minute.
And so with that takes a lot of research, basically paperwork and filing. That part I have not done.
But bottom line, you need a 501c3. You need to be a government sanctioned nonprofit. And I would imagine that in this sort of a situation that we're going on now, this is just a guess, but you would, as a nonprofit 501c3 corporation, you would be required to follow strict mandates and say,
well, yeah, you have to make sure that you're within the law. And that's the thing, is saying, okay, well, and then having that.
No, is a mandate a law?
A mandate is not a law.
No, it is not a law. It's a suggestion. And
right.
So if an employer mandates you to work overtime, it's a suggestion. It's not it's not a law, people.
To get back to the 501
C3.
Yes, you have to make sure that you follow the law and how that money is properly distributed according to the plan that you have in place. You can't just, like, oftentimes, and that's the unfortunate aspect, and that's a whole other story of things where money doesn't reach its intended goal.
Well, because things like
it gets saturated in administrative roles.
Exactly. Like you and I, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to step on you, but you and I both worked AV, and we both know that those events are big money. And those fundraisers cost a lot of money to pull off. And those meals are expensive, and the equipment's expensive. And all of that goes against your bottom line, right? You can write all that off essentially as a nonprofit. And I'm not an expert, so if I'm wrong, comment. Or if you hate me, comment. Or if you like me, comment. But right, essentially, you got to comment. I mean, that's the all right, Terry, talk to me about the election situation that we got going on right now, please.
Well, I'll first off start off by saying I'm more ignorant than I am wise on a lot of things, but from what I've been awoken to and educated on as of late, because of this whole disgraceful coup that has been placed upon our sitting president since he came into office, even before he came down. And it's just been, to me, eye-opening to the disgraceful, hateful, destructive, and abusive nature of people within our political system that is apparently watching over us or protecting us or served by us. Well, apparently, even through this election fraud, it's apparent that there's a lot of people that have always wondered, how is it that you keep being in office? How is it? Nobody likes you. I mean, how? And now I know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not anybody in that regard, and I know that there's a great deal of the Constitution that I still have to continue to decipher for my own sense of strength and knowledge of what our country is built on. But I know that this nonsense of people being in those offices that are destructive to everybody in the community but them, and they're still in office every time, that's just not right. And I don't believe that there are that many people that don't disagree with it, but they always thumb their fingers up to the current liberal city that is being destroyed by its leadership and its dictatorship. And it's like, to me, I think it's shameful that this is happening in our country. And this whole, basically this whip from what was happening in China right before COVID happened. China was standing up because it saw the power of Trump standing up. Trump stood to China.
Oh, really?
Trump, my God. And this is the thing that gets lost in the art of war and misinformation and mass communication and liberal communication, where it's like, fuck, we're going to bend this truth and we're going to guide it in one direction because we hate Orange Man bad. And that's the only thing that, what happens in that cause, you and I are suffering. Our work source and our opportunities for the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that we have educated ourselves in it and said, my God, I've fought for our country for life, liberty, and pursuit. And here, they're taking it away from me because you don't like him. Hey, the hell with you. Why don't you concede so that you don't create $40 million in bullshit coup witch hunts and destroying neighborhoods with this bullshit Antifa and BLM that is nothing but hate and racist in itself. In its name, it's racist. It's like, my God, what happened to all-inclusive? You know, they just like to pick and choose in order to destroy you and me because we're sitting here going, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be kind, I'm supposed to kneel down. Baloney, are you kidding? But if you look, as I stated in the beginning of this before I went on a little tangent, right before COVID, look at what was happening over in China. They were rising up for the first time. They were rising up. The people, the Chinese were rising up saying, we don't want the we want our constitution of the people to resemble more of the United States. They see how this man Trump has become dominant and saying, my God, he's not bought. Nobody can buy him. That is what America is about. And that is what we have. Our only hope is having a country that has that stability to where we can breathe easy at night and we can walk into our community upright and look each other in the face and protect our own health at our own liberty and say, I'm not going to tell you that, put this on and put that on and now dress like this. And it's like, what? Isn't that tyrannical? I mean, I thought we lived in a free country. I thought this is what America was about, is that I protect my own health. I had the responsibility for my own health. And if you try to subdue or restrict my movement when I am healthy, that's tyrannical.
Man,
if you try and subdue, you know, my because I'm ill, I get it. That's fine. I get it. But it's not. This is tyrannical. That's quarantine. This is tyrannical. There's a difference. But we've all now been in a tyrannical situation where they went, oh yeah. Yeah, talk about tyrannical. Oh yeah. Okay, you want that cheeseburger? You better put that mask up over their nose, baby. Good enough.
It's not as bad where I am at, but it is still bad, dude. It's still bad.
It's shameful.
And
the thing is, when I walk through certain stores and people go, "Excuse me, sir, would you do you need a mask?" And I go, no, thank you, I appreciate it. And they go, but you know, you're supposed to have a mask. I says who? That mandate that you kneel down to? I said, that's a mandate. I go, thank you. If you're sick, go home. If you're ill or know someone, stay home and quarantine yourself. I go, I'm responsible. I'm healthy. You're obstructing my movement in a free society. What do they say to that? Most people don't know how to talk like that because, my God, that's confrontational. And then I might be, you know, and a lot of people shouldn't have to be that confrontational just to go and get some bread and cheese.
Go about their business.
To live their life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It's very simple. That's the basics that most people should digest. Is this the basics? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Pursuit of happiness includes forging forward without restriction. Now,
building a career and not having it taken away from you.
And that's where this whole money funneling, and you really see the abuse of it in the last 4 years. This is what President Trump has done for Americans like me that were ignorant to so many things, until he woke me up by waking and saying, hey, I have already been a billionaire. This ain't about me. I love America. I became a billionaire because of American values and my Constitution. I see it's being threatened. In order for the generations to come to have them become billionaires because they're in America, I need to do everything with the resources and the strength and the wealth that I have obtained as an American to protect that flag because I'll be dead. There'll be other presidents. And that's why I think that people miss that because of fake news and miscommunication, is how much they've made people, like my own family, certain family members, that have seen him as a symbol of hate, and they don't even know him.
I think it's just showbiz, man. It's just showbiz, right? I didn't mean to cut you off, but I mean,
I have a degree. I have a bachelor's in film and video. I mean, you educated in film and video, and that's the thing.
Man.
And that's what I've been woken up to. I just got my degree, and all of a sudden, this nonsense was happening in media, and I went, "Oh my God, what am I a part of?" I said, "What do I want to be a part of?" Because it is media manipulation. And the more that they make and twist their stories, they're storytellers, and they are brilliant at lying and making the people think that there's so much bad to be concerned about the current president that has done so much, that if you actually don't listen to the nonsense and actually look at evidence, you'll go, wow. Your breath will be taken away about the successes that this individual has done for people like you and me that live here. We have children here. We have families here. We're Americans here. We're citizens here. And how abused we've actually been being abused longer than we're awoke now. This isn't new, but it's new to the depth in which they will go to keep their power and subdue their people. Just go to Nancy Pelosi's district and look at the poop app. And I'll show you how it looks to live in a princess lifestyle. Oh, there's a poop app that there's so much feces, human feces of the homeless and the drug addicts. And it's a very sad thing because it's typhus waiting to happen. You want to talk about black pet plague. You want to talk about diseases. You need to get in your neighborhood and clean that up for your own people that are paying high wages to live just above the Shiaiza. And it's not fair.
And that's the pandemic.
And what are they doing?
Like you were talking homeless people, man.
They're buying their ice cream machines, and they're buying their $10,000, $30,000 ice cream machines. And Pelosi goes, "Oh, I love this flavor, and that flavor is really good when it's cold outside, but I got a fire over her." And you're like, really? So I think that's the problem, is that they abuse in front of us. They'll abuse the wealth that they have and the wealth they deny you, and you're the one out there getting picking strawberries.
Bacon strawberries. Hey Terry, we've almost come to the end of this chat, man. I wish they were longer. You want to take like 5-10 minutes and just maybe 5 minutes and just kind of wrap her up? What do you want to tell the people?
No, I just think that we live in a time right now, and thank you first of all, because it's good to talk to you again. I know that we both have been going through, challenges that, as resilient Americans, we have to continue to say, what is your purpose? I mean, mayors and governors are going to come and go, but how are they staying there? Are they taking our disenfranchising our vote? Because there's election fraud, number one. If we're in America, we have to protect you and my voice. Thank God that you're still out here and you've actually created a platform where it's like, let's kind of produce some content that gets some activation.
This is real.
Really, it's like
I have no sponsors. and I would like sponsors, but I don't have any sponsors. Go ahead. Sorry.
And it's more of that kind of a call to action, to where it's a call to action saying, just be more aware of what you listen to and how you comprehend, I guess, because you can't teach someone to comprehend. But like, to me, and we'll talk about this maybe the next show or another show, because beside me here is the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. And it's like, what is this flag? What does the American flag represent? And what is it that we honor to be Christian in America, and have the symbology stand that represents freedom? Oh my God. But if they'll do it to Jesus Christ, they'll do it to you and I. And if they'll do it to you and I, they're going to definitely do it to Donald Trump. They're going to do it to. So to me, it's like we got to look at our country and say we are the last stitch of effort to kind of keep integrity what it's meant to be, integrity. You're supposed to have integrity within you. You're supposed to be able to walk free and say, listen, we walk free. My forefathers, our fathers, our grandfathers, my dad, my brothers, we've all served. God bless you, my friend. It's like my as we call it, domestic partner, Sharon, whom you'll meet on the next one. She's a veteran, and her deceased husband is a Marine who's a veteran, and he thinks that he probably voted for Biden this year, and that's nonsense. He didn't go over and get Agent Orange in Vietnam for him to come here and die as gracefully as he could with her as a medical vet, as his assistant until he passed. To have his vote go to somebody who would just take that right and take that strength and take that value of what he died for, essentially. So, and my dad's about to 2 tours. My brother Rick, he's a lieutenant colonel. It's like there's people to me that I go, why are you in the military? Because my service is like when you serve and when you're around, why people are in other countries and how come we're over there. That's a great strength that we have, that we are a uniformed country that's guarded so, lovingly, because there's no greater honor than to die for your brothers and sisters. And for those people to put themselves out there every day, and then for people back here to just sit back and go, well, what's my new decoration for my mask? What's my new, how can I get the coolest one?
Dazzle my mask.
And you're like, oh my God, you don't have to. It's like you don't have to do that. That's why you're here. It's kind of like if you're a Christian, your sins. It's like you don't have to suffer as much as you want, as much as you do, and much as you're addicted to. You don't have to go through that suffering because it's already been done for you. And the same thing. It's the same with a veteran. That's the heart of the Spirit, is saying we live in a country of veterans that died. And many people died, and it's unified color and creed. It was like we died as a nation to say, you know what, we will not be infringed upon.
Hey, Terry, we will not be infringed upon. I like it. Hey, you know what? I'm finding myself interrupting you again, and we do still have a couple more minutes, and I want to get to the Mike Pence situation that's coming up. If you could just give me just kind of your
well, again, this is knowledge and legal processes that I am still learning, because to me, I've not been a legal student, but I've become watching how people like Clinton, who are lawyers, are the ones that, because the law is the law. In our country, it's all about process through the law. Those fabrics, it's like it doesn't matter how much you rant and rave, it's got to go through the paperwork. It's just like in the military. It doesn't matter unless there's a signature.
So January 6th, tell me about January 6th real quick.
Well, from what I know, Washington D.C., everybody's going to rally, and they're going to be there, those that were within 500 miles of Washington D.C. that are patriots, that understand the great need for us to stand up, because as conservatives, we're often just wanting to live our lives and be comfortable, be by our fire, read our book, raise our children, go to school, do our soccer, do our things that we pay taxes to do for our little communities. And we don't want to get out there, but for the most part, this is the first time that you've seen more patriots than ever say, you know what, I want to keep that lifestyle. It's time for me to put on my patriotic armor and say, you know what, this is the only way we're going to do it, because once a socialist is voted in, the only way out is shooting. The only way out.
We're there with Biden, thank goodness. But
thank goodness. The only reason we're not is because President Trump is going to remain another 4 years. That is the only reason. But if
now, how is that going to be possible?
January 6th, show up. So this electoral college is the vote, basically, through the judicial system, saying, since the judges in those states of Georgia, and these judges that were too afraid to scoop up that evidence, it's like Pontius Pilate. It's like, dude, you're telling me that I got to make the choice? I don't want to make the choice to crucify Christ, because you're making me crucify Christ. Because, so those judges, which their only purpose in life was to stand for the Constitution, are now being deployed into activation, and they're bowing down and saying, I don't want to take up that because it's too much. I won't be recognized as somebody when I go to the wine bar in the fucking cigar room, And so it's like, there's more politics. It's more organic, not about us, because the politics has gotten so nasty and so socialistic and so draconian that it's too much. And you've seen it more and more. The Americans are done with it. Patriots are done with it. So listen, we've done your draconians long enough. We're moving on. We're taking our masks off. Unless you're sick, go home. If you got the flu, you'd go home. Any nastiness, go home. Be responsible. But I'm responsible. If you see me out, that means I ain't sick and I ain't got symptoms. Move on, open your businesses, open your school, continue to raise your children, and let them flourish, because you know how much more deaths other than COVID has gone through our children and suicides in different areas. This isn't being activated because the news doesn't want to support that image of the Biden thing, because Biden is bought by China, his son is bought by China, and it's obvious if you follow the money. And it's a disgrace that he's gotten this far, but this is how dangerous it is, because he's gotten this far. It's like, my God.
Go and listen to the guy talk.
This is like World War II. This is like World War II. It's like, my God, they almost won. We got that close.
Just go and watch his speeches, man. I'm telling you, they've been hiding him for a reason. I mean, they've been hiding him for a reason. You're going to see the real
Joe. He's been
Joe.
following along. He's been a puppet the whole time, and it's obvious to those that know and those that continue to follow evidence and truth versus emotional enslavement. Those that have continued to follow their emotional enslavement and go, no, I just think he's like a grandfather. Like, he wouldn't be sniffing on my children. No way in hell would I want my children near him to sit there and berate them as women. I've got 2 daughters. And I know you got a daughter, and it's like, you've got 2 daughters. And so to me, it's like, there is no way in hell I would have he or his family anywhere near just because of him. If he got my children in a room, I would fear for them. And so, hell no. And that's how in the hell is this not public, how awful he is in the disgraceful. But that's what money will do when you're in China. And China just goes, I got enough to keep pouring into his videos. If you follow the money and videos and Soros and all those things, you just follow that money and you just go, wow, that's the Darth Vader of our time.
Thanks for joining me on The Brain, Terry.
All right, until next time. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you.
Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you know when we put new videos out. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Brain Aqua. This has been Aqua Brain TV. Remember to keep your head up and keep those knees bent.